What's going on, everybody? Before Havoc Shake, Banks should be coming in here momentarily. This is a Not for Debate podcast. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and most definitely share. You can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and also other major streaming platforms. We got a special guest in the building.
Oh my gosh, very special guest.
Very special guest. We have, excuse me, the voice for the Texans in the YouTube community, Mr. Spitz389. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? What's up, man? Happy to be on, man. Appreciate y'all having me on today, man.
Are you from Houston, bro?
Actually, nah. I'm from right outside of Houston. I'm maybe 25, 40 minutes away from Houston. 25, 30 minutes away from Houston.
I swear, the second I hear your accent, you sound a little bit like Jay Prince.
Nah.
From Rap-A-Lot.
No. Like I said, I grew up around Houston. I'm in Houston almost every other weekend.
All right.
But yeah, I'm not officially from the city of Houston. I'm right outside.
Okay, you kind of like me. Like I grew up just outside Miami.
Oh, okay.
I'm not from Miami, but I'm from right around Miami.
Yeah, you're right around the corner.
Right around the corner. Yeah, exactly.
I was going to ask the exact same question because you're an Orlando Magic fan too, right?
Yes.
So that was like, whoa, okay, Houston Texans, Orlando Magic. I got to hear this story about the Orlando Magic.
Oh, it's simple. My favorite basketball player of all time is Trace McGrady. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my guy too.
It's really all it is, man. Like when he became T-Mac. So I'm not a person who hopped from team to team. So since I identified with the Magic, so even when he went to the Rockets and went on to the other teams, I stayed in Orlando. So that's all it was.
I hear you. This is something I'm fascinated with. Is people that align with teams that ain't from their area. Like,
okay,
I'm someone like I support all the teams from my area, and when I went to different areas, started talking to different people, and I was like, talk to people from Washington, but they're Packers fans. I'm just like, how that happened? It'd be like, oh, it's the same reason why a lot of people are Miami Dolphins fans from back in the day, because they were really Dan Marino fans.
Right,
and then they became that way. So it's almost like you find a player that you latch onto, and then all of a sudden you got a team.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, but I was going to say we just go jump right into this, man.
Yeah, man.
Houston, Texas, man. From the top, first question I gotta ask, like, how disappointed are you in the Houston Texans as far as 2020 is concerned?
Man, highly disappointed. If you talk about the record, I kind of already predicted it. Like when the schedule came out, of course, I was optimistic, had my optimistic views, but I told people that I could see the Texans starting off 0-4 and going into the bye week being 1-6, and that's exactly what they did. I thought that would be the time that they would fire Bill O'Brien, not knowing they would fire him 4 games into the season. So I was in the beginning happy about that standpoint, thought that we could maybe go on some type of run, but I knew that the team was deployed of talent from the jump. Like the team really, from top to bottom, is not all that talented. We have a couple skilled players here and there. Of course, we have a quarterback, but the rest of the team itself wasn't full of talent. So I wasn't surprised to see that the team basically played the way they played throughout the whole year. Now, if you want to talk about the mess that's been going on for the past month and a half,
we gonna get into that.
We can get into that. Okay,
because I'm pretty sure you have a pretty clear picture of the timeline from when Dwayne Brown ended up getting traded to the Laramie Tunsil situation to Jadeveon Clowney to now. So we definitely go get into that. But me, Shake, and Havoc, we go back and forth as far as how Bill O'Brien, the coach, and Bill O'Brien, the GM. Was you okay with Bill O'Brien, the coach, and it was just the GM, Bill O'Brien, or is it just both that you just did not like?
Both. So short answer, both. And the reason why I felt like I felt that Bill O'Brien got to a point that he became stagnant. That it became to the point that he got you to this point of your life, and after that, his time was done. That he was a guy who he could get a bad team playing halfway decent, but that's it. he couldn't get you over the top. And I'm a type of person who I want a championship. So I want somebody who's going to be able to get me over the top. And the only thing he was good enough to do was get you 9 wins, win the AFC South, and that was about it. And first exit at the playoffs. So I knew then. I say after we lost to the Colts, I was like, yeah, we already know that this guy's not going to be the guy who's going to lead us into the championship realm of the NFL. So it's time to go ahead and cut bait. Then they rewarded him by allowing him to be the general manager, and then that's when all the ultimate mistakes happened, and basically got to the situation that we're in right now.
Let me ask you a question about the Houston Texans as an organization.
Okay.
One, I think the consensus around the league, there's usually 1 or 2 franchises with someone in charge that you can, so to say, pull the wool over their heads. And I think the consensus outside of the Houston area of just NFL fans from around the country is Bill O'Brien's not a real GM. So
yeah.
And I think when you saw when he traded DeAndre Hopkins for a bagged lunch, I think every other GM in the league was on notice. It's ripe for the picking. So let me just ask you, from an organizational standpoint, do you feel that Houston is moving in the right direction? Just as a whole franchise, do you think that they're moving in the right direction now? Because the past few years, because y'all had a window with, you had a defensive player of the year, caliber player on your defense. You had Deshaun Watson. You had all-pro wide receiver. Like, y'all had pieces from a long view. You're looking at it, it's like this team should be doing something. But like you said, Bill O'Brien couldn't get him over the top. So let me ask you, how do you feel about the Houston Texans organization moving forward?
A dumpster fire. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. As of right now, we're operating like a dumpster fire, and this situation is going to be. We're going to be like I don't know if when you watch the playoffs and when Cleveland when they won their playoff game against the Steelers, and when Buffalo beat the Colts. Look, the graphic they pull up, the first playoff win since '94, the first playoff win since '95. That's going to be the Texans. The way they're leaning is going to be, we're not going to have a first playoff win until we're going to have a playoff win 25 years from now. They're going to say the first playoff win since 2020 when it was, or 2019. That's the last time we won a playoff game. And it's going to be 2041 or some shit like that. Like that's pretty much the situation that we're leaning towards. Yeah, it's not good at all. And the temperature, I mean, Texas is normally a hot state. The temperature in Houston is on fire right now. It's past 105 degrees. Like it is heated down here. Like nobody is liking what's going on. Nobody's liking what they're seeing or what they're hearing from this organization.
I hear you, and I think particularly because right now it's not Cal McNair is not. He's passed, right? Right now it's the son that's running the team, right?
We'll see. Well, Cal is the son. Bob was the dad.
Bob McNair. Sorry.
Yeah. Cal's the son, and he's the CEO because technically his mother is the actual owner, Janice McNair.
Okay.
Bob McNair's wife. She's technically the owner, but Cal's the one who's making all the decisions.
Okay, because I just looking at it, it appears they're not. It's almost like if like the Patriots were the textbook of doing things the right way. It kind of looks like Houston is kind of, I don't know if they're trying to figure out how to run an NFL franchise as they go along. But you brought in Nick Caserio, you hired a head coach. I mean, are things look at the bare minimum? Bill O'Brien is sitting at his house sipping tea. I mean, are things even if things aren't necessarily looking like championship caliber, do you feel like they're trying to get back on the right track?
No, not whatsoever.
Not even with the head coaching hire with David Culley?
No. Who? Come on, man. Come on, man. Who? I didn't even know who dude was. Like, come on. Nobody knew who he was. His people probably didn't know who he was. Like, who is that? Like, nah, man. It seems like some things they try to do to try to save face. because I don't think that was the guy who they wanted. I believe they wanted somebody else, and they couldn't bring in who they really wanted. Most people down here wanted Airbnb to be the head coach. It would make would make the most sense. I actually wasn't on that train. Like I had no problem with us bringing in Airbnb. I was leaning more so of either a Lincoln Riley or Byron Leftwich, which I'm really high on Byron, especially from being the former NFL quarterback himself. And also seeing what he's done, not only with Tom Brady, but if you look at what he did last year with Jameis, even though Jameis threw the ball to the other team 30 times, Jameis still played at a very high level outside of the interceptions. And that's more so on Jameis, not on Byron Leftwich or the scheme. So I was very high on those type of guys. And like I said, I had no problem with EB. EB's the offensive coordinator of the best offensive team for the past 3 years. It's been the 3 consecutive AFC championship games and now back-to-back Super Bowls. So from a credential standpoint, he deserves at least a look, if not an absolute shot. But then you hire somebody, David Culley, that nobody has even heard of. So no, I don't think that they're going nowhere near the right direction. This coaching hire does not get me or anybody on that team excited. But that's what the organization chose to do.
I'm gonna tell you my opinion on David, because I also don't know who he is.
Right.
But I do think, and I'm certain that he's stamped and certified in terms of being an NFL assistant coach. But I feel like it's what I would call an appeasement pick, which is you bring him in, but basically he's gonna be under the control of the GM, right? Like he's not coming in with any type of organizational power. He's just the coach, and that's it. So it sounds
he's
like
a yes man.
Exactly.
So
what I was trying to say.
He has no relationship with Deshaun Watson whatsoever.
Reportedly that he was a coach during the Pro Bowl last year. Like he was one of the assistant coaches during the Pro Bowl because he was on the Ravens staff, and I think the Ravens coaching staff was the coach for the Pro Bowl and the coaching staff for the AFC. And him and Deshaun, I guess, spent a week together, and they, I guess, quote unquote, formed a relationship. How much of a relationship can you really form in a week span when it's basically those players, when they go to the Pro Bowl, they're treating it as a vacation. So I don't really know how much chemistry you really can vibe with somebody. But I definitely think he's a yes man. He didn't even pick his own staff. His coaching staff was picked before he was hired.
So he didn't pick his own staff.
No, the moment they hired David Culley, like 10 seconds later, like literally, like right after they announced that David Culley was the head coach, they started naming the offensive coordinator. Our offensive coordinator is the offensive coordinator of last year. Is Tim Kelly. They brought in Lovie Smith to be a defensive coordinator, and they just started naming all these other coaches before you even hire and notify who you classify as your head coach. We start getting the reports in of who's on his coaching staff. So his coaching staff was handpicked for him. So if I can't even pick my own staff, how much control will I really have? I just think he's just a figure. He's just a yes man in the situation.
So it's almost like they setting him up to fail. Almost like we know the next few years. It's almost like what rebuilding franchises do a lot of times is they pick a coach and they're just gonna pile a whole bunch of L's on his record, and hopefully that he can ride out those L's. But I'm gonna call it right now. When they brought in Lovie Smith as defensive coordinator, they brought him in because if it don't work out with the head coach, he's gonna be the interim head coach at some point. He's basically the head coach in waiting, in my opinion. And David Culley, if it doesn't work out, which it's all about the players you bring in, but if it doesn't work out, they basically got his replacement standing over his shoulder already.
No, I think they got somebody who they want to bring in as the full-fledged coach, and that's I can't think of his name right now. Josh McCown, the quarterback. Josh McCown. They got him as the quarterbacks coach. He was the third string quarterback for the Texans last year. They got him as being the quarterbacks coach. I think he's the head coach in waiting. I think
they try to season him up a little bit.
Right, because Culley signed a 5-year contract. I don't think Culley makes it past 3 years. I think after 3 years, they're going to find a way to move up to be the head coach eventually. That's in my personal opinion. I think Josh McCown is going to end up being the head coach within the next 3 to 4 years.
You know what? This Dan Culley reminds me of Cam Cameron 2.0.
I was just about to say that, Shake. I was just about to say that. It looks so much like a dude you bring in that he's and I will also say I don't know the numbers, but I'm going to assume Culley is probably the lowest paid head coach in the league. I'm just going to assume that.
I mean, the terms of his contract, how much he's making, I haven't seen it. If it is out, I'm not gonna say it's out or not. All I know is he signed a 5-year contract. I don't know how much he's making per year, how much the total contract is, but I do know he signed a 5-year contract. I don't know exactly what the money is, but I wouldn't be surprised if that is. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the lowest paid head coach. I know one thing: Nick Caserio is the third highest paid GM. He got a 6-year deal. He's the third highest paid GM without doing absolutely nothing yet. He's already third highest paid GM.
Really?
Yeah,
Man. And
whatever that's worth.
And I guess we're gonna find out, who was really picking the groceries. Was it Belichick, or was it Caserio, who's now in Houston?
We know who it was. It was
we know it's Belichick. Man. You can play that game if you want to. We already know who. We know who was doing the decisions. Come on, ain't nobody, not even Robert Kraft telling Bill Belichick what to do. Let's call it like that, man.
I hear you. I hear you, man.
One thing I can relate to Houston is when you have a coach that's in charge of the 53-man roster, Adam Gase, things are bound to happen wrong.
The Spitz just described the front office for the Houston Texans just now. I could see the New York Jets organization somewhat similar to that, but I'm not going to confirm that just yet. We don't revisit that. We're just going to revisit that.
Okay.
Instead of just putting everything on Gase, because I strongly believe that's not all on Gase. But back to the Houston Texans. Spitz, take us back. How many seasons ago was that? It was like 4 or 5 seasons ago with the whole quote from the owner as far as the inmates running the asylum. Take us back to that. Break that down to us real fast.
Back in 2017, yeah. Okay, so it was stemming from the whole Kaepernick situation, and he the owner Bobby there was saying, I guess in the not players meeting, but in the owners VP meeting, wherever it was, when he said you can't have the inmates run the prison, when the term is you can't have the inmates run the asylum, but he said prison, and that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, especially offensive left tackle Dwayne Brown. Now Dwayne Brown and Bob McNair already had issues dating back to the year before, when Kaepernick first started taking the knee. It was a Patriots game on Thursday Night Football. Dwayne Brown did not take a knee because the owner Bob McNair did not like players doing it. They wanted everybody to know hand over the heart during the national anthem. So what he did, instead of taking the knee, he held up a fist. And Bob McNair didn't like that. Bob McNair called him into his office. They had the conversation about it, and he asked him not to do it again, and there was no more said. So that following offseason, Dwayne Brown had 1 year left on his deal, wanted a new contract. They didn't want to give him a contract, and they're saying that it stemmed from that, like that Bob McNair didn't feel comfortable about giving him a contract because of that. So they were throwing all other type of stuff in how organizations do, of the reason why I don't need to pay you. Oh, you do this, you do that, you late here, like all the type of reasons why they don't want to give you a raise. And he just held out. He came back, but the moment he came back this happened to be the same week as those comments came out. He was very vocal. He was extremely vocal, all on ESPN, talking about it. And he played one game against Seattle, and then the next day he was traded. It was all stemming basically from that whole comment, and they already having issues dating back a year prior to Dwayne Brown holding up a fist during the Patriots game, and Bob McNair did not like that. That rubbed Bob McNair the wrong way. So that's when you start seeing the cracks, and that's when this franchise, the fabric of what this franchise could have been building, start to really unraveling. The moment you trade away your franchise left tackle Dwayne Brown, who's still playing good football, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question. Do you feel that the Houston Texans organization is openly hostile to outspoken black athletes? For example, you just broke down the thing about Dwayne Brown. I think, what was it, Bill O'Brien was talking about DeAndre Hopkins. You can't have all your baby mamas running around the place, right?
Break that one down too. Break that one down. Yeah, break that one.
I'm just seeing the pattern developing of shut up and dribble, basically.
Right. To be honest, I think it's period. Now we haven't had a white player to be outspoken, so I can't really say if it's like that across the board, because like the most of the time the people who've been outspoken have been black players. Now we haven't had a white player, and to be honest, we haven't really had that many players
What about JJ or what?
He really doesn't be outspoken about it. Like JJ normally plays the middle. Like he makes some comments about the George Floyd situation. But then also Bill O'Brien made comments about it as well. Bill O'Brien actually took a knee in all 4 of the games that he coached. He took a knee. So it seems like now if the world as in general is more forgiving of certain things than they were 4 years ago when it comes to football players taking knees. So you kind of like, you not roll your eyes at that, but you kind of be like, okay, would you have done that 4 years ago? Or you just doing it because it's okay to do it now? It's acceptable. Back then it wasn't acceptable. Now it is acceptable. So we let you have a pass. So it's kind of really hard to say. But they do have those type of vibes about the whole, just like you say, just shut up and dribble. But it has been mostly become with black players. Now about the whole DeAndre Hopkins things and the baby mamas, dog, I didn't even know Hopkins had kids until he got traded. Until that whole comment came out, there was no words about that down here. And this is Texas. This is football. This is social media age. If his baby mama was out there wilding, like tripping, like all in his face and being ghetto and stuff like that, everybody would have known about that. That would have made the evening news. It would have been all on social media. Be like, oh, football player, baby mama out here tripping. Nothing was ever said. So I don't even know to the extent of what he was talking about, because until they actually had that, until I think it was Michael Irvin who talked about it on First Take, didn't nobody even know he had baby mamas like that. Like Hopkins kept his business. People didn't know how business like that. Like he kept the play on all fronts. So that was just when you heard the situation happen, you like, what? And even though I think Bill O'Brien gets a lot of the blame, which he should, because he was at the time the head coach and the acting general manager, there's another guy behind the scenes named Jack Easterby, who I believe is the main culprit. I think he's the guy who's in everybody's ear. In everybody's ear, there's a reason why all these bad decisions been happening. Because the moment he got here, that's when all the real funky stuff really started happening with this organization, and it really started breaking down.
It appears I tell you that what, go ahead, Shake.
The bad sign about Jack Easterby is, I don't know nothing about Houston Texans except for J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watson, and I know about him because his name has been coming up on all kind of negative shit. If you know another team's GM owner, something bad is happening. And
right.
They usually don't talk about if he's doing something well.
Right.
And you know what? On top of that, I've heard former Houston Texans players call him out by name and say, this the Easterby guy? Yeah, he the real problem.
Right.
Now, it appears that he has some sort of relationship with ownership that he gonna be around whether you like it or not. But it appears most people don't like him around, don't think he's necessarily contributing to the Houston Texans being a winning organization. I don't know him that much, but I do know his name, and usually if I know your name, usually I know it for a good reason. But he seems to be a dude, I only know his name for bad reasons, and that's because former players, they don't speak highly of him.
Yeah, it's the thing that he got the one person he needs to get fooled, and that's Cal McNair.
That's it.
Like everybody else can hate him. He only needs one person to fall in love. He only needs one person, like they always say about draft picks. All you need is one team to fall in love with you. The rest of the 31 other teams can hate you. All you need is one team to fall in love with you for you to get drafted. All he needs is one person, and he got this cash cow. He got Cal McNair, and he's able to slide up and get next to Cal McNair, and he's in. He's in. No matter what anybody else says, he pulled the wool over his eyes, and he's basically in control. And and Cal said on numerous fronts that Jack is not going anywhere. I don't know exactly what the extent of their relationship is, but he's saying that Cal said that Jack is not going anywhere. And like you say, former players, current players, everybody has a problem with him.
Well, I can guess the extent of their relationship is Jack Easterby is Cal McNair's mole. He walks around the building, he sees what's what, he hears what's happening, and he tells the owner everything that that usually people with morals would keep to themselves.
Mm.
In my opinion.
The one thing about
he's
Kyle
the
used to
mole.
be the one thing about Kyle used to be is everybody hates the hitman except for the guy that's giving the hits. And that's pretty much what he is. He's his hitman. He's doing the dirty work that hey, do this. He's kind of like a puppet figure, if you will.
So that you bring up an interesting point with that. So the whole thing with Deshaun, DeAndre Hopkins, because it seems like from the outside they've tried to formulate a story so they could legitimize trading him away. Mm-hmm. Now, is this something where DeAndre Hopkins had some type of conversation with McNair that McNair didn't like? Maybe he said some things to him about the way he's running the team that he didn't like. Maybe he said something to Easterby about the way he's running the team that he didn't like. So they kind of just ginned up a story and try and throw a little dirt on his name to ship him out.
Well, see, the lie that they're running with down here is that Hop won a new contract, and because they had to pay Laremy Tunsil and they also had to pay Deshaun Watson, they couldn't afford to give Hop a contract. So that was their reasoning for saying they were trading away Hopkins. SI has not one, but two fully linked articles about Jack Easterby, about the times he's been caught in lies, saying that he was an assistant general manager to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that come out to be false. Something about things he used to do for the New England Patriots, and Bill Belichick has come out and said those things was false as well. That was the first article, and in that article, it says that Jack was going around the locker room telling people that they need to get rid of Hopkins. Now, when you bring back about the whole him having baby mamas thing, this is what a lot of us believe, because the reason Jack is in the position that he's in is because he was a chaplain. He was a team chaplain for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he was also the team chaplain for the New England Patriots. So we're thinking it's more so of a religious thing, because if Hopkins having multiple baby mamas, that means he's having premarital sex, and that's against basically Jack Easterby's code. And that's the real reason why he's getting them shipped out. Because it seems like, and if you look at the players that the Texans have brought in recently, it's like we're trying to bring in a certain type of person, not the best athlete. Not if you can catch, you good. Oh, you can run fast, you good. Oh, you can tackle this. It's you okay, but you're the right type of guy. So we rather have the right type of guy instead of having the best athlete available.
That's interesting you say that, because when we made the trade to you guys for Kenny Stills was shipped out because of his comments about Stephen Ross, our owner, as far as supporting Donald Trump and his whole, I think it was an event or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was a fundraiser. So he was included in that Laremy Tunsil deal. So it's interesting that you bring up as far as what kind of players they decide they want to bring into Houston, if Kenny Stills is just another one of those guys that's going to stand up for what he believes in. Right. Yeah, and to be honest, a lot of people were surprised when we brought in Kenny Stills.
What? Damn.
Good, Spitz.
My bad.
No, that's what I was saying. We were surprised.
What makes sense now? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Man.
Oh, yeah, well, we can.
Oh, you done?
He jumped out. Oh man.
Yeah, but I mean, I think just to add another little something to it. I always thought the NFL was a type of business where you can't just get by on relationships. Like at a certain point, you will get exposed and you will lose your job. But it appears that when you hold the people at the top of your organization to a standard that we're not so concerned with winning as much as we're just concerned with having good guys around, because we don't want another situation. We don't want another Dwayne Brown situation. We don't want another DeAndre Hopkins situation. We just want guys who aren't going to bring us drama.
Right.
Now, the problem is, dudes that bring you drama are very talented, and you gotta
most of the time,
you gotta have organizational consistency. So when when drama does come, you have an answer for the drama. And it appears that instead of lining up your organization in a way where you can handle guys, like that's the thing that people talk about with New England, even Seattle, is they bring in guys and they get them on, they get them with the game plan. It appears that the Texans aren't necessarily concerned with getting guys in the game plan because they don't have a game plan.
Yeah, they don't. They really don't.
They want guys who are going to come in, not going to make waves, and that seems about it. And what we're seeing now is you done trade away your best wide receiver. It looks like you're about to trade away your quarterback because either, if he's really about what he's talking about, he ain't playing. If he doesn't get traded, and I think J.J. Watt is probably not too far away from the front door as well.
You have to get rid of JJ especially if you get rid of
it's a disservice to him.
It just wouldn't make any sense. Like if the moment you get rid of Deshaun Watson, you're going in complete rebuild mode. So there's no reason why you have a 32-year-old guy making $17.5 million on your roster. If you're in rebuilding mode, it doesn't make sense football standpoint or from a salary standpoint. One, you're gonna need to clear off the books as much as you possibly can. So you need to get rid of all the big major contracts that you have, and you need to get rid of all the older guys because you're gonna need to tank to find that new quarterback, and you gotta go younger, cheaper. You just gotta go younger and cheaper. Like that. So it doesn't make any sense to keep him if you get rid of Deshaun. If some people argue it doesn't make sense to keep him if you have Deshaun Watson, but it definitely doesn't make sense if you get rid of him. And that's my whole thing. And that's the reason why I normally when teams say that they're not trading somebody, and when they say, "Oh, we're not trading that person," that means they're about to trade them. Now, I think this situation is slightly different. One, because most of the time those are when the rumors are coming from the organization standpoint of trading them. This is a different situation because Deshaun is the one who's the catalyst. He's the one who's asking for the trade. But the Texans, I believe them that they don't really want to trade them because if you trade away Hopkins last year, you're going to trade away Deshaun Watson, and if that case, you have to trade away JJ. What jersey are you selling? I'm being serious. Like, what jersey can you sell? You can't sell no jersey.
Like you can't get people on the Laramie Tunsil jersey, man.
Ain't nobody buying no Laramie Tunsil jersey. Like, come on, man. What jersey is you selling? You can't sell nothing. You can't sell nothing. So from a marketing standpoint, they don't want to get rid of them. Not even just from a football standpoint, just from a marketing standpoint, you don't want to get rid of them. So, but this is the situation that you put yourself in because of the moves that you've made. All the things that y'all have talked about are valid. Like all the moves that you've done for the past 4 to 5 years have led you to this moment right here. And it's really, like I say, the door has been swung the fuck open. It's wide open. The door is taken off the hinges. It's a wide space. Anything can happen now. Anything can happen. I wouldn't be surprised if anything at this point.
All right, before we get to this Deshaun Watson situation, I did want to talk about the Jadeveon Clowney because I feel like after you just broke it all down to us, I feel like Jadeveon Clowney in a silent way was saying, "I don't want to play for this organization, no matter how much you would have paid me, no matter what the price tag was." Hold on.
No, that's actually not the situation. Clowney was ready to play. No, the Clowney situation was completely all about money. Clowney wanted $100 million. Like that, his mindset was on making $100 million.
Do you agree with that? $100 million?
No, Clowney's not worth $100 million, and I like Clowney, but Clowney's not a pass rusher. Even though he plays a pass rusher position, he's not a pass rusher. He's not. Clowney's not a pass rusher. He's not. I believe he's the best run stuff in the NFL. When he's fully healthy, he's the best run stuff in the NFL. But when it comes to getting to the quarterback, he's not a pass rusher. He does not. He's just not. He's not an elite pass rusher. He's a good one, but he's not an elite one. Therefore, you don't pay him $100 million.
It makes sense.
I don't think he's ever had a 10-sack season either. Actually,
no. His highest sack total is 9.
And you
not
know
even
what?
9.5. It's 9.
And even though he is well known as one of the best run defenders in the league, I still feel a lot of the lore surrounding Jadeveon Clowney still goes back to college when he knocked that dude's helmet off. I think that's what people keep banking off of.
Yeah, that Mel Kiper and them kept on saying he's a once in a lifetime generation pass rusher, and he's not. He's not even he's the third best. He's the third best defender in this draft because Donald's better than him and Khalil Mack. And all three of them were taken right. Like Khalil Mack was taken 5th, and Donald was taken with like 15th. So like all three, those two guys are way better defenders all around than the number one pick in the draft is Jadeveon Clowney. So there's no way you're worth $100 million. I'm sorry, there's no way you can explain that to me.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. All right, so when you said,
by the way, we got our first Hall of Fame. Hold on, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I was saying the first nominees and wide receiver Drew Pearson is in the Hall of Fame. We're still waiting for Zach Thomas.
Okay,
man, Drew Pearce has been waiting for how many decades to get into the Hall of Fame? They finally let him in. Good for him.
Yeah.
So I remember you sent me the video for as far as these trade scenarios.
Yeah, he was in the 70s all-decade team.
Oh.
I know Drew Pearson is well known for having the camera on him, like the past few years when they've been announcing the Hall of Fame, and every year he didn't get in, and every year I gotta watch Drew Pearson cry about not getting into the Hall of Fame. So I'm glad he's getting in.
Yeah, he deserved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the video you sent me as far as the Houston Texans trade scenarios for Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
I like the list. My only issue with the list is as far as the New York Jets versus the Miami Dolphins as far as in a bidding war, because
let's talk about it.
So my thing is, all right, Deshaun Watson, he's got the trade clause. So I'm curious to know, why would Deshaun Watson want to go to a team where they're in rebuilding mode and they're going to be giving up assets to put them basically at the bottom of the barrel if they had any chance of making a playoff run in 2021. So that's my only issue as far as with the New York Jets being a possible landing spot for Deshaun Watson.
This is the thing. I agree. I believe, to be honest, I just got to talk about the Texas talent. I believe if Deshaun's on the Jets, he's in the worst situation. He's in the same. It's a Lara move. It's the exact same situation, if not worse. I can make a case that it's a worse situation by being a Jet. Because at least in Houston, at the very least, he's gonna have a chance to win the AFC South. There's no way that he can win the AFC East with New York. I mean, you still got Buffalo, you still got Miami, and then you can never count out Bill Belichick, even though they don't have a quarterback. You still got Bill Belichick. You can never count that out. So I definitely see him being either the third or the fourth best team, even with the Jets as they're currently constructed. The thing that the Jets have is as New York, and New York is at the end of the day still New York. And there's been talks that Deshaun is talking about expanding his brand, making his brand bigger. And that's part of the reason why he'll be open to going to the Jets. Also, to be coached by Robert Saleh, one of the guys who he wanted to be coached by. He wanted the Texans to give a look at both Saleh and EB. EB was his number one, but Robert Saleh was his number two. And the Texans didn't even interview Robert Saleh. So that right there is the reason why there's talks about him going to the Jets. But I do think if he has a choice, I think his number one team is the Dolphins, because I mean, Dolphins won 10 games last year with like going back between Tua and Fitzpatrick. So yeah, and I know you're happy that's the situation. I think is the worst situation of them all. Like, it's a horrible situation. I don't even want to talk about it so bad.
If I'm Houston, number one, I'm looking to get as many picks as possible. Because, and I've said this before, and I'm going to keep saying it, you want to win this league, you need a whole-ass team. It ain't just about having the superstar quarterback, and he going to put the whole team on his back. Because put your whole team on the back thing don't work in the playoffs. It might work against the Bengals in the regular season. It don't work in the playoffs. So,
right.
If I'm Houston, I'm just looking to get as many picks as possible, and the problem is, if you want to get as many picks as possible, Miami is not going to give that to you. Now
that's why the Jets is the best option from that standpoint. And another reason too, I believe this: if you trade away Deshaun Watson, if you lose your quarterback, what free agent want to come to Houston? Like,
we're gonna give you Tua back though. I know you say you're not a fan of Tua. Now explain to me. Well,
Did you just really say that? Did that really just come out your mouth with confidence?
I'm not. See, here's the thing, because I'm willing to give you. We're gonna play. We're gonna play. I'm gonna be Chris Greer here.
You willing to give me? You willing to give me Tua? Okay, you willing to give me Tua?
I'm gonna give you Tua, and I'm gonna give you both our first round picks and one of our second round picks for just Deshaun Watson. What you think?
Ain't no way on no players that enough. One, it's so many things wrong. It's so many things that's wrong and dirty. Just wrong and dirty with this whole Deshaun Watson to Miami. One, like I just said, Miami won 10 games going back and forth. So if you add Deshaun Watson to that mix, you talking about 10-win team. You add Deshaun Watson to that mix, that's a 12 to 13 win team. So that means I can see the Miami Dolphins with Deshaun Watson playing and winning the Super Bowl in the next 3 years. I'm gonna be heartbroken because every time I look and see that, I'm gonna be like, that's my Super Bowl because that's my quarterback. So that's one thing that's wrong with it. Two, I don't want no damn Tua. Y'all don't even want Tua. Y'all keep going back and forth. Y'all pull Tua after 3 plays. Put in Fitzpatrick. Come on, man. Oh, so you gonna give me Tua and y'all gonna even trust him to finish out a quarter, but y'all gonna give him to me. Okay, that's fine. And then the most egregious thing about the whole trade to Miami, I'm gonna trade y'all for a pick that already belonged to me. The third pick in the draft is my pick. That's my pick. Like,
go get your picks back.
Like, that's my pick. So in essence, that means I traded Deshaun Watson, a franchise quarterback, for Larry Tunsil.
Yeah, basically.
No, exactly. No,
basically.
No.
No.
Y'all gotta play damage control though. You gotta take something.
Nah. It don't work like that, bro. It don't work like that, man.
I tell you what. I'll add Xavier Howard in there for you.
I like Xavier Howard, and I would love to bring him back to the city of Houston, but no.
But I think the problem with adding Xavier Howard is if they trade Deshaun Watson, they're trying to get rid of Cap.
Right.
And if you're trying to get rid of Cap, you're not going to bring on Xavier Howard. He's not going to be in your long-term plans.
How about this? How about y'all give me Xavier Howard and Byron Jones and Gesicki?
No. You can have Gesicki, but you can't have. You can only have one corner.
You want half of our secondary.
He can't afford it. But he can afford Gesicki, but he can't afford both corners. I know that for a fact.
Yes, we can. We get rid of JJ and we get rid of Deshaun. So yeah, give me Byron Jones. Give me Xavier Howard. Give me Gesicki.
Now you being greedy because now you want
give me
That's
both of them first.
Though.
You want 4 picks.
Yep.
You want Xavier.
Yep.
Are you going to take 2 or 2?
No, y'all can have 2.
No, I don't want 2. No.
We don't need them if you have Deshaun. You know what I'm saying?
No, y'all can use 2. Y'all can trade 2 to the Colts. Trade 2 to the to the big. You trade 2 somewhere else. It's other teams that need quarterbacks. Trade 2 somewhere over there. Y'all get y'all pick back. Y'all got simple in Houston. Yeah, you got the Colts. You got Pittsburgh. You got Washington. You got New Orleans. Like that. Because think about this. 2 was compared to Drew Brees. Send them to New Orleans. There you go, right there.
Okay, so I guess Houston don't even want Tua now. Okay.
No, we don't want no Tua. Again. Y'all are willing to give up Tua for Deshaun. Why would we want to give up Deshaun for Tua? That makes no sense at all. Come on, man.
Look, I think it's one of these things where I think particularly Deshaun Watson in Miami. I think honestly that's them trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. Like, I'm sure ideally Deshaun Watson would love to go to a team that's about to go to the playoffs. Probably next year. I'm sure Deshaun would love that. But if you're looking at it from the organizational standpoint, there's no way Miami's going to give you the most assets. Like there's no way Miami's going to give you more assets than the Jets would.
Shit, Spitz asking for a king's ransom right now.
He asked for half the team. He wants half the
right.
team.
He trying to take both corners.
He want the whole secondary and the tight ends.
We're in a negotiation. We're in a negotiation. He over here
exactly.
We might as well just rebuild again if we're gonna give you all that.
Maybe y'all still got Devontae Parker. Y'all still got Jakeem Grant. Come on,
you can have
Jakeem
Parker.
Grant.
You can have Devontae Parker.
I'm a
Grant.
First of all, I'm a Texas Tech guy, so I like Jakeem Grant. First of all,
you can have him. You can gladly have him.
He can have Devontae.
We got Kiki. We don't need Jakeem Grant. We got Kiki. We don't need Jakeem.
Kiki Kuti.
Yeah, we got Kiki. We don't need Jakeem. We already got a Texas Tech receiver. We don't need another. We good. Even though I like Jakeem. What's wrong with Jakeem? I always see him running punts and stuff back.
What's wrong
That's
with Jakeem?
the problem.
He's only
a return specialist. That's it. I gave him 3 years. I tried to defend him as much as possible.
That's what he was at Tech. That's what he was at Tech. That's what he was.
He's trying to play like he a receiver though. He's saying I'm not just a return specialist.
But he is a receiver technically.
No, he ain't. No,
technically, Matthew Slater is a wide receiver, but he ain't no damn wide receiver. He's a special teams gunner. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, in regards to Jakeem, you look at, and this is the term I use all the time. Jakeem Grant is a workout tape all-pro. You look at this, you look at the workout tapes, you look at the measurables. It screams to you production, but then you see him on the field, and it's like he doesn't exactly do the best job of tracking balls deep. He ain't exactly got the most reliable hands, receiving and on punt returns.
I think I got better hands than Jakeem Grant, to be honest.
Well, first of all, because he came from a spread offense at Texas Tech, his offense was more simplified. I'm pretty sure y'all run a more difficult offense, but that's the reason why he can't get open like that.
No, he can get open. He can't catch the ball. That's the knock on Jakeem.
He's just dropping wide open catches. Oh, okay. Okay.
Wide open.
That's the
wide open.
That's the
contested
narrative.
Punt returns, kick returns, you name it, he's dropping it. Name it, he's dropping it.
Like I said, I was a big, huge Jakeem Grant supporter up until this point, but I just can't defend him dropping slant pattern passes, man.
And look at what he's 5'5", bro. If you ain't catching the slant pattern, he's 5'5".
He ain't no 5'5" now. Come on,
5. He is. I think he is within the top 5 shortest NFL players all time. Jakeem Grant is. That man is 5'5". I promise you.
See, he a whole baby out there.
He
a whole baby. He a whole baby.
It really looks like it. Like he looks like. Look at
5'6".
What's wrong with Devontae Parker?
You know, he just can't stay healthy, man. And to be perfectly honest with you, I was already done with him.
But you know what? He was almost a Texan though. Cause wasn't he originally in the trade before Kenny Stills? That's what we was talked about.
Ooh, I don't know.
They said that.
You know what? I think I could believe that because I think
he's not untouchable.
The contract that he got was right after that trade.
Yeah.
I think from a production standpoint, and I think especially the past 2 years, you know, he's been playing through injuries basically every single game. So his reputation has flipped a little bit from a guy that's injured all the time. You never see him on the field to a guy who's injured all the time, but you see him on the field now. But I think it's one of them things where people feel like the injuries are starting to add up with Devontae. And if he's not, you know, if he wasn't necessarily durable in the beginning of his career, and he's not particularly durable right now, it's not going to get any better as he gets older. Yeah, I think people like him a lot. He's highly productive when he's healthy. The problem is when he's healthy.
He don't do enough for me when he's healthy though.
But see, and the thing is, like, and going back to that Tunsil and Stills trade, even though I like the Kenny Stills, and I would wish instead of Kenny Stills, obviously the best case scenario if they would include Xavier Howard in that trade, but that's a conversation for another day. I wish y'all would include it instead of Stills. I can't think of his name right now. The running back y'all sent to Arizona.
Kenyon Drake.
Drake.
Kenyon Drake. Yeah, I would much rather Kenyon Drake be in that trade. I think that would have changed the dynamic of some of the things that happened. Maybe you don't get rid of Hopkins, or maybe you get a better thing for Hopkins instead of getting
I tell
You
you,
got David Johnson and a
Thank
pick,
you.
right?
Yeah, and I had a
David
picnic.
Johnson, David Johnson, the 2nd-round pick.
Bro, you cannot tell me. I'm sorry, you cannot tell me David Johnson and a 2nd-round pick is the best you can get for DeAndre Hopkins.
Right.
There is no universe. That's the best offer you can get for him.
It can when you don't know how to negotiate and you only talk to one team. If I only ask you one question and I don't bounce this question off of nobody else, I only get your answer. That's the only answer that I know. He didn't ask.
You.
Yeah, exactly. No other team knew he was available. The Eagles, Seattle, and the 49ers, all teams that needed receivers, all said that they didn't even know Hopkins was available. Like, yeah, you did not know how to negotiate. That was the whole general manager Bill O'Brien, or like we like to call him William O'Brien, the general manager, did not know what he was doing. He don't know how to negotiate. He doesn't know how to be a general manager. When it seems like it was more so about getting rid of Hopkins instead of getting the best assets for him.
So let me ask you, because I know usually when the GM gets fired, usually they'll just make the assistant GM, the acting GM. In the case of Houston, did they make Bill O'Brien GM to make sure Bill O'Brien stayed around?
No, I to be honest, I don't know why they even. Okay, we had general manager named Brian Gaines. Jack Easterby got here. Brian Gaines got fired 2 weeks later, a month and a half later. They tried to go out and they tried to go get Nick Caserio. Then that's when the Patriots start trying to file tampering charges against the Texans. So what they did was we had no general manager. Purportedly, we had no general manager, but Bill O'Brien was the guy who finalized the trades. After the season was over with, they actually officially gave him the actual title of general manager, and then that's when he traded away Hopkins, and we had the draft that we just had. And when we fired him this past year, they just took Jack Easterby and made him assistant general manager till the rest of the season was over until we hired Nick Caserio. That's basically the timeline.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel, as long as Jack Easterby is associated with the Houston organization, do you think they can make the moves they need to make to become a championship caliber franchise?
No, because football's not the first thing that's on their mind. Football's not important to them.
It's a business.
The thing that's the thing that's most important to them is getting the right type of guys, the good character guys, their type of guy. They're not worried about winning football games. They're worried about getting the right guy, in my personal opinion. So that's the reason why I don't think, as long as he's making decisions for this organization or has anything affiliated with this organization, they're not going to win anything significant, because I think that's the driving force of why Deshaun Watson's wanting to leave. If we keep Deshaun and Deshaun comes back and plays, he's full. He says, "Hey, I ain't gonna hold out. I'm gonna come out there and play." All bets is off, because at the end of the day, you still have that guy, you still have that quarterback. But outside of that, if you have to get rid of Deshaun Watson, I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Basically, that's why the analogy I brought up when I say that we will be a team in the next 20 years, back in 2041, finally getting our first playoff victory in the last 25 years.
It's interesting, because I think particularly when you said we still have that guy. Well, when J.J. Watt was at the pinnacle of his performance, wasn't that the same argument? Well, we still have J.J. Watt, so we can make it work. But it appears, and you give anybody, you make enough picks, you're gonna hit on somebody. Now, I think Deshaun Watson was, in my opinion, before he got drafted, I thought he was probably the most obviously superstar quarterback you could come out of college. Like, he was, in my mind, he was just like, obviously not a good, just like a superstar straight out the gate. Right. Now, J.J. Watt didn't come in quite as heralded, but emerged as that. I think moving forward, I'm just looking at the scenario. I'm wondering, and even then, when they had Jadeveon Clowney, he had a healthy season. It just seems like they had all the pieces working together, and they still couldn't quite get it done. And then at that point, I was thinking, well, maybe it's the coach. But then, and kind of like brought back to the point you said, he's a guy that can turn, a bunch of guys into a decent team, but he's not a guy that necessarily you give him good players and he could mold them into a championship caliber team.
Right.
So in my eyes, when I look at Houston, I kind of look at it almost like with Miami and Dan Marino, where it's like you had a dude who was the best in the league at his position at one of the most important positions on the entire field.
Right.
And then you had a real quarterback to match with that. And then you had an all-pro wide receiver with the quarterback. It seems like on paper the Texans should have been competing for a Super Bowl.
Right. And it's gonna be that the peak, the highest point of the Deshaun Watson era with the Houston Texans will be up 24-0 against the Kansas City Chiefs. And we know that's going to be the highest point. And that game ended with them losing 51-31, losing by 20 points. Yes, and it's been downhill ever since then. And I mean, especially since y'all are Miami fans. So yeah. When did Dan Marino retire?
99?
2000.
It was 2000.
It was 2000. Okay.
That's fine. Either way, 99, 2000. Y'all are a prime example of why the Texans shouldn't trade Deshaun Watson. It's been over 20 years. Y'all haven't replaced him yet. You don't replace franchise quarterbacks. Buffalo's just replaced Jim Kelly. Denver has yet to replace John Elway. Like San Francisco has yet to replace Steve Young. Like I know the Packers were able to replace Brett Favre with Aaron Rodgers. That's the exception to the rule. The Patriots are going to find out real quick how to replace Tom Brady. The Colts are going to find out right now how it's hard to replace Peyton Manning. They thought they had replacement in Luck, but Luck retired. Like it's hard to replace franchise quarterbacks. Once you get that guy, you do as much as you can with that guy, because once that guy is gone, it's hard to replace him. And you're letting this guy force his way out at the age of 25. He's not nowhere near his prime yet. He's just led the league in passing.
He's only getting better too. He's only getting better too.
He's over 4,800 yards, led the league in passing. Second in quarterback rating. Third in completion percentage. Led the NFL with the most yards per attempt. Second in interceptions. Come on, man. He only had 7 interceptions. 33 touchdowns, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
I mean,
those guys don't grow on trees.
Now that you bring up all them stats, man, what type of trade are you looking for Deshaun, man? Just let me know, man. What's the asking price?
I already
bring up all them numbers.
I already told y'all, but he don't want to do it. He said, "No,
we can't fit all the stuff he want on the card for the trade to the NFL. That's how much he wants.
That's gonna be a 2-sheeter. That's gonna be 2 sheets.
Hey, you can't complain about the price. Do you think rich people walk inside the Louis store and be like, "Nah, that's too much"? No, they pay that. They want their Louis bag. They gonna pay for that Louis bag. They want their Maserati, they're going to pay for that. They want their Lambo, they're going to pay for it. They don't be like, "Oh, no, that's too much. The asking price too much." No, the asking price is the asking price. If you don't like it, you ain't got to shop here.
So you don't feel like the asking price is going to drop as we draw closer to the draft?
No, I think it's going to rise.
I think it's going to go up.
Yeah, because again, it takes 2 to tango. All I need is 2 teams that are dead set on getting Deshaun Watson. And I'm going back and forth until it's an offer that I feel I can't get. Till I squeeze that well as dry as I can. I can't get no more out of it. Then that's when I make my move. If I have to make that move. Because me personally, I'm trying to mend them fences. The whole thing is that Deshaun ain't answering phone calls and texts. Forget all that. I'm showing up at his house. I'm pulling up like Birdman. I'm pulling up. I'm finding you. Where you at? You gonna talk to me today. You gonna talk to me.
I think the problem is no one in that organization has enough legitimacy to pull up on him like that.
I will, but send me the address. I'll do it for you. Like they ain't gotta do it. Hey, Deshaun, listen to me, bro. Come on, man, listen to me, bro.
I'm pulling up.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, if y'all are unable to get this deal done as far as shipping out Deshaun Watson, scale of 1 to 10, how 10 being the highest, is you think Deshaun Watson going to end up holding out this year?
I really don't know. The guy that I've seen for the past 4 years, and what the guy that people like Dabo and everybody else have talked about before the 4 years he became a Houston Texan, I don't see him sitting out. it was talks this year. Like after when we lost to the Bears, we were officially eliminated from the playoffs, and we still had 3 football games after that. And we still had 3 football games after that. And fans didn't want to play Deshaun. Hey, sit Deshaun. We don't want him to get hurt. Whoop de whoop. Deshaun's like, no, I'm playing. The second to last game of the season against the Bengals, he got strip sacked and his arm got pulled back, and he had to get taken out the game. Deshaun definitely don't need to play the last game of the season. He came out there and played for nothing like that. So that guy's a guy. He's a competitor. He's going to want to play. I know people bring up the fines and stuff like that, and I think those things are valid too because you don't want to just throw money down the drain, especially knowing where he's come from. Deshaun has a lot of people riding on him. I don't think that he'll just want to just let money go down the toilet just for nothing, just to be in a big staring contest between the organization. But not only that, I just don't see him holding out because he's the type of guy who wants to play. But when people mad, people in their feelings. Those things do change. They does change your perspective. So I'm not gonna say it's 100% that he's gonna hold out. So back to your number scale, I give it 7 that he's not.
Okay,
7.
That he's not gonna hold out.
Because I remember the last reference I can make for a player actually holding out is Le'Veon Bell, and Le'Veon Bell told the Pittsburgh Steelers the year before he held out, "Y'all don't give me a contract, I'm not showing up." Like
right.
he was already on that. Like, I love football, but I don't love it enough to play it for pennies.
And the thing is, and the thing about Le'Veon is that he didn't have a contract at the time. See, so they couldn't really penalize and fine him the way that they can Deshaun because Deshaun's under contract. Deshaun's under contract for the next 5 years. Deshaun's under contract, so he will be penalized. And because the new CBA, they don't forgive those penalties. Like back in the day, if a player sits out and holds out and racks up them fines, the organization can waive those fines and the player can come back. Oh yeah, you ain't got to pay those fines. We good. Everything good. Even if the team wants to waive them because the new CBA, they cannot. So those fines are going to be those fines, and he will lose a year of eligibility. So if he sits out a whole year, he has 5 years left on his deal. So his contract's supposed to end in 5 years. If he sits out a whole year, all that does is when he does decide to come back, they just restart the contract all over again.
Okay.
So it's not
pause.
Yeah, so it's like a big pause. So he still will be under contract for 5 years. He could sit out 5 years straight and still be on the contract with the Houston Texans for another 5 years. So it really doesn't make sense for him to sit out. I know a lot of people out there making the case the reason why he can sit out. He's like, it just doesn't make no type of sense for him to sit out because it's not going to do anything that he personally wants. It's not going to make him move any faster. It's not going to get him traded any faster by him sitting out. Because I think, to be honest, him sitting out, the Texans be like, well, next year we can have our first round pick again, so we can just we can go 0-16 and have the first pick in the draft. So it doesn't really benefit him to sit out.
Yeah, the organization may be like, you want to sit out? Cool. We trying to get draft picks.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Havoc, you got any final thoughts on Mr. Spitz here, man?
I mean, I appreciate you coming through, chopping it up. I mean, I've learned a lot about the Houston Texans organization that I did not know beforehand. I mean, you came in here, you answered all the questions straight up, and I appreciate you coming through, man. You're always welcome here.
Anytime, man. Anytime. I'm glad y'all have me. It's good to be around other guys, other YouTubers. This is good, yeah. especially people from Miami.
That's what's up. That's up.
I did want to ask you one more question. Super Bowl's tomorrow. Who you taking? Chiefs? I was about to say Patriots. Chiefs or Buccaneers?
Well, I already told y'all I'm a Texas Tech guy, so I'm rolling with my boy Pat.
Oh. You know what? I can respect that. I can respect that.
I'm rolling with my boy Pat.
I'm the same way. I said Kansas City's going back to back at the beginning of the season. I'm still holding to it. They going back to back.
All y'all Heat fans.
Yes.
I'm not.
I'm a Heat fan.
I'm not a Heat fan. To be honest with you, as far as basketball is concerned, I gave up rooting for one particular team. Like, I just watch. I'm just a fan of basketball at this point.
Okay.
Interesting.
Miami's having a tough season. I'm aware. We're having a tough season.
No, the reason why I asked because, like, from my understanding, up until LeBron came to Miami, that the team that was in Florida, like most people in Florida that were basketball fans were Magic fans, and then when LeBron came, that's when Heat Nation just exploded, and now it's more Heat fans than Orlando Magic fans. That's just what I've heard. I was just checking on that.
Oh, that's 100% accurate. I mean,
100% accurate.
the only time Orlando was really popping was when Shaq and Penny were around.
Yeah.
You know, they had a little following. They had a little following when T-Mac was there, but for the most part, I think once D Wade came to the Heat, that's when things shifted.
Wade County.
Yeah, exactly. And then when LeBron and Bosh came through, it was nail in the coffin.
Right.
But even now, I mean, people love that team, man. Especially, and I'll say this much: something that's really helped that team. Number one is I think Tyler Herro may be the most marketable player on the team.
I really like Tyler. I like Tyler.
Even though
I like Tyler.
I'm
iffy about Tyler.
He's good. He's good. Now he ain't no superstar, but he's really good.
Yeah, he's really good, but he ain't no superstar.
He's a bucket, and the fact that they done changed the colorways, changed up that jersey. Now they got the Miami Vice colors all the time. That's what's really got people
excited,
in tune with the Miami Heat. Yeah.
Yeah, I like those Vice colors. They're nice.
Yeah, I like them too.
Yeah. Well, Spitz, hopefully we could end up coming to some kind of even ground as far as this trade is concerned with the Miami Dolphins and the Houston Texans. Hopefully.
Yeah. Wait. Again, why do y'all want to get rid of Tua so bad?
We don't.
Here's the thing. We don't. We clearly know who the better quarterback is.
That's obvious.
If we could get our hands on a Deshaun Watson, we have a road to the Super Bowl that's a whole lot faster than playing Russian roulette with Tua and try to figure out what he is. In my honest opinion. But people get it twisted though. People get it twisted because in this Miami Dolphins community, it's ridiculous right now. They feel if you're not with Tua, you don't like Tua. You know what I'm saying? So I just gotta explain it.
And I'll say, because I'm very pro Tua, I personally I think you can't.
Why?
You can't surround your quarterback with trash and be surprised that he ends up smelling like trash. And
I agree with that.
That's just my perspective. I mean, also, and I'll be quite frank, we didn't necessarily, knock the ball out the park last year when it came to our offensive coordinator as well. So I'm just of the opinion that you actually give him a real offseason instead of an offseason where he's rehabbing his hip the whole time. He's gonna come out, he's gonna be a whole lot better. But that being said, and I'm just patient with the process of going through the draft, building your team the right way. That being said, I know exactly what Deshaun Watson is. Like, I know he's an all-pro.
We can't ignore it. Like, it's undeniable. We cannot ignore what's on the table right now.
So y'all got to pay the premium. Byron Jones, Xavier Howard.
I ain't giving it. I was willing to give you one, but I ain't giving you both. That's
Gesicki.
Gesicki, you can have. You can take Gesicki.
Yeah, you can have Gesicki.
You can take Parker.
Why y'all like Gesicki?
He's one-dimensional. I don't like. He's a one-dimensional tight end. I don't want him. You can have him.
He don't block.
He don't block.
No, he don't block. He's basically like a 6'6" slot receiver.
Yes.
That's what he is. That's all he is. A predictable, it makes our offense so predictable when Gesicki comes out there. It's ridiculous. He's not even listed as the starter for the Dolphins.
Who y'all starting tight end in?
Durham Smythe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's basically the blocking tight end.
Yes, he's our blocking tight end.
Although this season showed us he's got enough hands to do something. He ain't the athlete Mike Gesicki is, but he's got enough hands that he's reliable.
Well, maybe a quarterback like Deshaun Watson can make Gesicki look like Travis Kelce.
But he need to block, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
he's just undeniable about his receiving ability. We know that.
He's a block. Yeah.
He just can't block. And to be honest with you, next year is going to be his contract year. We had Shaheen. We had Shaheen come in and make some plays. So to be honest with you, I think we're gonna end up letting them walk anyway. So y'all doing us a favor if we end up trading you, Mike Gesicki. So we ain't gotta have to deal with that next year. That's
so, okay, thank you for that. I don't want Gesicki now. Gesicki's off the table. Gesicki's off the table. So back to I need Xavier Howard. I need Byron Jones. I need them 2 firsts. I need them 2 seconds. I need the 22. I need the 2022 first and the 2023 first. That's why
this dude wants the whole treasure chest.
I told you need like 3 cards to put that joint on there.
What do y'all need them draft picks for? Y'all in Miami. Y'all in Miami. Y'all gonna get everybody wanna go play in Miami. Welcome to Miami. Everybody gonna want to go to Miami. Y'all need draft picks. You need draft picks.
We're a player. We ain't asked for no highway robbery.
Listen, man, we right on the cusp of making the playoffs. We can't just give away. We just can't give away good players right now.
I'm giving you good quality players. I'm giving
you a franchise quarterback here.
I set your roster up for 2021. I gave you Gesicki. I'll give you
Gesicki, and I'll give you X because X wants a new contract.
Yes, we'll give you X.
Did you just pay him? Oh, I thought you just paid him.
He wants a new X. So here's what you're gonna learn about Xavier Howard. It don't matter how many years you put on his contract. He's gonna want a new contract every other year. That's who he is. Did y'all
just pay him last year?
Here's the thing. See, my thing is with Xavier Howard, I strongly feel Byron Jones came in the building last year.
He thinks he's Darrelle Revis.
We made him
he's gonna ask for more money.
We made Byron Jones our highest paid corner. As far as productivity on paper, Xavier Howard led the league in interceptions. So I'm thinking his mindset is I deserve to be paid more than Byron Jones, which is the current highest paid corner in the league right now. That's my thought process about it.
Okay, and to piggyback off that, it's an ego thing because once you bring somebody in to play the same, when you bring somebody to play the same position, me and you're paying him more than me, I feel disrespected. That's what happened with Malcolm Butler and Stephon Gilmore when the Patriots paid for they traded for Stephon Gilmore and paid him. That was during contract year, and he felt disrespected. That's the reason why he left.
But that turned out to be the right move, though.
Yeah, it did. But it did. And who knows? Maybe in 2 years, Byron Jones is the defensive player of the year. I don't know.
I don't know. He's got the only player on the Dolphins.
He don't get picks though. Anyway,
that's what I was about to say. The only player on the Dolphins with worse hands than Jakeem Grant is Byron Jones. So he can lock dudes down. He can mirror, but when it comes to getting them picks. Yeah. That's not what he does.
I don't know because I seen him get beat quite a few times, so I'm not too sure about that whole.
The best corner is Xavier Howard.
Thank you.
I know corners.
Yeah,
the Xavier Howard's the best corner.
Yeah,
because I seen Christian Kirk get him a good time.
In my opinion, when healthy, maybe the only dude I would put above Xavier Howard is Jalen Ramsey. When healthy. Maybe Zaire Alexander out there in Green Bay as well, but
no, Jalen Ramsey is better than Xavier Howard.
That's what I said. I said the only dude that I'm putting above Xavier Howard is Jalen Ramsey, maybe Alexander in Green Bay.
I'll take what's called over Xavier Howard too. Buffalo.
Trey White.
Jadeveon White.
Xavier White. I'll take Xavier White over Xavier Howard too.
Really?
I like. Yeah, I'll take Xavier White over Xavier Howard. I like Xavier Howard, but I'll take Xavier White.
I take Xavier Howard over Trey White, but I totally get it.
That's a biased ass opinion, right?
What you want me to do?
Hey, I'm on the fence. I keep it real. It's debatable for me.
You up here trying to sell me a bill of goods, trying to finesse me to take Tua off your hands, and I don't want no parts of Tua.
What you mean finesse? We ain't trying to finesse you. That's a solid deal. That's a solid deal.
I've been talking about how Tua should have won the Heisman. He's a national champ.
I ain't that guy. I ain't that guy. That guy is right there in that corner right there. I ain't that guy.
I still think Tua's going to be good. He's still going to be good.
When he has talent around
him. That's debatable.
That's
No,
what?
no. The NFL has exposed Tua. Like, come on, man. He was good when he was in Alabama because everybody's good in Alabama. They got all the players. I mean, his receiver just won the Heisman. Like, come on, man. It's Bama.
I'm clipping this and putting it on my Twitter.
Listen,
Boy.
I'll say I've heard enough from people who know quarterbacks that have actually directly worked with him, and they say he's the real deal. Anytime I come across a real talent evaluator, they say he's the real deal.
Question for you, Havoc.
Yes.
Michael Jordan owns the Charlotte Hornets, correct?
Yes.
As far as his talent evaluation standpoint,
He's terrible.
Okay.
He drafted Kwame Brown. He drafted Kwame Brown with the number 1 pick.
Mic drop.
Kwame Brown.
That's all I need to say. That's all I need to say.
I'm not asking for Peyton Manning's. I'm not asking for Peyton Manning's opinion on Tua. I'm talking about like quarterback coaches that have worked with him. That's what I'm talking about. Jimmy Johnson came out yesterday and said
Trent Dilfer was his quarterback coach.
Jimmy Johnson came out the other day and said he's gonna be good.
I wonder who paid him.
Oh, people paying people now.
Yeah, that's what they do.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just don't see it. Like I just don't. I'm not saying he's terrible. I just don't see a franchise quarterback. I just don't see when I look at him.
That's exactly how I feel. Like it's not there on tape, but I can see it. But I just can't describe it that he is not a franchise quarterback to me. The way that it was hyped, the way that it was. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, like when you go back and look at him and you look at Burrow, you can see, okay, Burrow got it. You can look at Justin Herbert, okay, you can say they got it. Like I just don't see it with Tua. I just don't.
Okay. You know what?
And my fear is he gonna be a Texan. I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be mad.
Oh, the Twitterverse gonna be mad at me at the ball. They're gonna be mad at me.
I think a whole offseason.
And make sure you tag me in it too. I want to see it. I want to tag me in it.
Hey, you know what, man? They gonna play this 2021 season, and we gonna say who's who. You know what I'm saying? That's my opinion. If in 2021 they upgrade the wide receivers and the O-line, and he's still not producing, then it is what it is.
Well, hopefully hopefully that experiment still happens in Miami.
Oh, he's gonna be a Dolphin. They're not moving off of him.
Okay. So you in the mindset you don't think that trade Deshaun to Miami is going to happen?
I think just in general the Dolphins aren't going to give the Texans what they want, and the Jets will give them what they want.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Though. It's Robert. It's how you pronounce the last name.
Saleh.
I thought it was Salah.
Salah. Yeah, I think it's Salah too. He's Muslim, so I think it's Salah.
Yeah.
So I think it's a new age in New York. I don't think that he's going to end up giving up a king's ransom.
But it's not up to Salah. It's up to Joe Douglas.
Then what's the point of having the head coach there if he can't make decisions?
He's not the general manager.
I think he does have full control.
No, he does not. No, he does not.
Joe Douglas. We can revisit this conversation, but I think he does have full control. It was announced as soon as he was hired as the Jets head coach, he had full control.
Well, we'll see about that. I think Joe Douglas is still in charge.
We're gonna see. But Spitz, like I said, man, you're always welcome back here. I really want to have you back on when this trade goes down. When I see that run across that ticker, the Dolphins traded for Deshaun Watson and Tua as a Houston Texan. I really want you to come see me then. I really want you to come see you.
He's gonna cry.
Oh yeah, you don't want to see that. I'm gonna have on my Deshaun jersey, be like,
It's okay. You can send it over here. We can trade jerseys because I got a Tua jersey. Even trade. I can send it to you. You can send it to yours. We good.
Oh, we good. Nah, it don't work like that, bro.
It don't work like that.
But
it don't work like that, man.
You can find Spitz on YouTube, Houston Texans YouTuber at Spitz, the definition of throwed Twitter, you can find him at Spitz389. Instagram, lowercase, Spitz389. This is the Not for Debate podcast. Make sure you be sure to like, comment, subscribe. They'll definitely share. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and also other major streaming platforms. This is the Not for Debate. We're about here, man.
Peace.